Hey, ladies and gents, welcome to the Controlled Interest Gamecast, where we talk about video games and everything happening in the industry. I'm your host, Jared Weich, joined by Jordan.
Greetings, mates. How we doing today, lads?
And Dom.
Dark Souls is a masterpiece.
Couldn't agree more. Episode 108, in terms of what we've been playing, I mentioned before the show, I haven't been playing anything really. My friend who's in the armed forces, it was his last week down before he heads back. So all my free time was pretty much spent just, hanging out, that kind of thing. I think the only thing I had a chance to play this week was some more Graveyard Keeper. I think it's like crack.
Graveyard Keeper.
Yeah, it's just the gameplay hook is so solid. You unlock like a new thing on the crafting table, learning how to do a different technology, or like learn how to cremate bodies or do a bunch of different stuff. There's a lot of systems in that game, so I just get like buried in. And like I told you last week, Dom, it's one of those things like whenever you rest to regain stamina, I'm just like, I'll just do one more day. I'll just do one more day, And little you end up spending an hour playing the game when you're only trying to hop in for a couple of minutes. It's pretty much all I played. In terms of anything else, been reading comics, and I guess the thing in terms of watching that's pretty big is I started up Punisher finally. I finally got around to it. Really liking it. About 3 episodes in. Exactly what I expected, having a good time with it. I really love John Bernthal. I like him in I don't think there's been a movie that I've seen him in that I didn't like his performance. He was really good in Fury. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of Wolf of Wall Street, I loved him in that.
Baby Driver.
Yeah, Baby Driver, of course. Even Walking Dead, obviously. I just like him as an actor. So, it's pretty much it for me in terms of what I've taken in and entertained myself with. What about you guys?
Yeah, Dark Souls, more and more. A whole lot more. But I talked about it a lot last week, so I'm approaching platinum territory. Just putting that out there.
Dang. You are on PlayStation. Okay.
Just wow. Are you already on New Game Plus, I assume?
Yeah, I'm just about to. I'm wrapping up a few things, and then I'm
Once you know where you're going in these games, they got to be a lot different.
It's way faster. And easier. Yep.
Well, even just knowing like bosses, it's like the intimidation factor is no longer there after the first playthrough. Well, maybe the second playthrough.
Yeah, you're probably not like having to repeat boss fights. You're probably not dying a lot.
Very rarely.
Yeah. And I mean, by your second and third playthrough, if you're just going for like trophies or achievements, you can easily just call in like an NPC and also like some human help, and just make it cake so you can just get through it to get to the points you need to get to. So, that's awesome to hear. Isn't there? I know in Dark Souls 3 you have to get to like New Game Plus 2 to get like the Ring of Life plus 2, and like some items only spawn in like New Game Plus 2 and 3, right? I don't know if that's in 1 though.
Plus and plus.
Yeah, so in 1, as part of one of these trophies, you have to get all rare weapons or whatever, including the boss soul weapons. So one of the bosses, Sif, the Great Wolf or whatever, you need his soul 3 times to make 3 different weapons for that trophy. So you have to play through the game 2.5 times to get that.
Yeah.
And the worst part of it is there's other weapons or there's other trophies around, like, upgrade this weapon to the max or whatever. And
yeah.
For that one, you can actually spam it because you just have to upgrade it and then you get the trophy. So you can, even though the materials are finite per playthrough, you could just get the trophy and then shut the game off. And then you're going to reload it and go back. Yeah. But with the rare weapons trophy, you have to have them all in your inventory simultaneously. So you can't do that. They thought ahead.
Yeah.
It's fuckers.
Well, maybe it's just something they didn't think of,
Or they didn't think it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
But
I can't wait to hear when you do you think you're finally going to get it? Is it something you're just going to chip away at for a while?
Yeah, I think it'll take another 2 weeks.
Well, are you picking up Spider-Man at launch? I don't remember if you said you are.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll get it done before then, or you think you're going to do it like simultaneously, like when you don't want to take a break from Spider-Man?
I'm going to get it done before Spider-Man. That's my goal.
It's your personal challenge. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bold strategy, COD, and we'll see if it pays off.
Is that it? Just Dark Souls?
That's it, man. That's been it. I watched a lot of Clone Wars.
Oh, nice.
Fuck yeah. I didn't know you were still going with that.
It's getting really good. I'm like almost done with season 4. It's getting real good. actually worth watching.
With Clone Wars, does the movie happen before or after the series?
It's like the second. Yeah.
Okay.
It leads in. It was actually supposed to be the first several episodes, and they
just mushed it into a movie. Okay, cool. Jordan, you weren't with us last week, so let us know what you've been playing.
Yeah, Dom, are you aware that they're bringing Clone Wars back?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you've heard, because I know you started watching before that, but
that announcement is what made me push me like, oh crap, I gotta get back
into it.
Yeah, finish it up before that new season.
Finish the fight.
Mm-hmm. So what I've been playing is quite a bit of Dead Cells on the Nintendo Switch gaming system. So yeah, it's very fucking difficult. It's not even that it's difficult. It's like, obviously it's a Souls-like type of deal. But the thing is that makes it very similar to those games is that once you understand the enemies' attack animations and their different styles, and you start to get a grip on the mechanics, then you start moving a lot quicker and feeling things out a lot better, and you just kind of get that rhythm and flow with the game. And it's difficult in the sense that it will catch you slipping real quick. Like, there's just no room for error, and you do kind of get in a flow state where you're moving real quick, because it doesn't have a dash, but it has a roll that feels almost more like a dash, to be honest. And so you are moving around quick, and you have to get around enemies to defeat a lot of them properly. So it's got this Metroidvania style, but then it also has roguelike elements, because when you die, you start the entire game over, and you're basically just pushing through to see how far you can get. And you bank. It's a little bit different. Like, you can bank your cells at the end of a level, which are essentially like, blood echoes or souls. You can bank those at the end of a level, but unlike the Souls games, you can't just decide, oh, I've got 20 cells on this level, I'm just going to head back to the engineer, or whatever the fuck the guy's name is that you sell them to. Because that door locks once you leave the in-between space, in-between levels. So you have to make it to the end of this level that you're at. You can't just fast travel out or anything like that. And so, it's difficult in the sense that you're constantly on edge and trying not to die, and trying to beef yourself up and give yourself the best power-ups and weapons you can to give yourself just enough edge to get to the next level. Just so you can bank your cells, and eventually you're basically like building your character up over time, so that it'll make it a lot easier to get through those first few levels, and you'll be able to basically get through the game in one fell swoop without dying. So it's I don't usually use the word addicting to explain things a lot, and I wouldn't even say that here, but it is definitely fun. It's something that keeps you going, and even if you're getting your teeth kicked in, you're still wanting to get back into it. A lot of people say that these types of games are fair and that you know what you've done wrong whenever you screw up, but I think this one is actually one of the few true examples of that. So, I'm enjoying it very much, and I'm sure I'll play it quite a bit more, and it'll be great on the Switch to chip away at. Definitely recommend it.
I saw one complaint with it. And that's like, so the final boss, I don't know if you've made it there or not, but
absolutely not.
Yeah, so the final boss, I guess people are kind of upset because there's some frame issues with the boss. I've seen like several GIFs of basically, and obviously the game's hard as hell, so it makes it even more frustrating that this issue occurs on top of it already being difficult. But I've seen tons of GIFs of people fighting the boss, and they get kill shot, but the animation for them dying and losing their health happens before the animation of him swinging his sword up to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So
like the game basically marks that they died before they even see that they got hit, before he even starts his swing animation. It's like a very weird, I don't know if it's an error in the game code or something, but I've seen a good number of people that were enjoying the game just get so frustrated by that, because they felt, like you said, the rest of the game is so honest that like this weird thing happens where you feel like you're getting cheated out, right? Because like the frame animations don't line up correctly. So like you think you're fine and doing well, and then you die, and then you're like, oh, what? And then he swings a sword. So yeah, that's kind of tough because these people have loved this game, and then they just seems like a lot of people. I wouldn't say a lot of people, but a good amount of people are kind of putting it to the side and taking a break from it just because that's so frustrating. So hopefully you don't encounter that when you get there, but it seems like it's been an issue people are dealing with.
Yeah, hopefully they'll have a patch out. But I know I haven't even seen that, but I can just tell like what you're describing. Shit like that absolutely sucks when there's just certain times where like, no, I did hit this enemy that I'm fighting, or I did hit him before he killed me, whatever, and it just doesn't register with the game, and it's not like you're going to call the fucking developer and be like,
hey,
give me a fucking cookie,
Yeah, exactly.
So it just sucks, and that's a clear example of that, so I hate that for those people. Hopefully I won't have to deal with it, but besides that, since I haven't been on the show in a minute, in the meantime, I have finished Sony Santa Monica's God of War reboot.
Just now?
Well, in the time that I've been gone.
Motherfucker.
Oh my god, oh my god, I'm dumb, and I just play games whenever I want, and I beat them, and then I'm done with them. And I watched the spoiler cast before you even thought about it. Did the same thing with Ratchet and Clank. You're still not done with that game? It's been months since that came out.
Jordan's the king of like let it simmer. He's just like taking my time.
That's exactly right, dude. I love
if that's what works for you.
Like, oh, I can't get back into games when I've jumped out. It's like, no, I take like a 2-hour play session and just like reteach the game to myself. It's like, I love playing games. You're right, Jared. Over time and letting something sink in, and this especially is something similar to Ratchet and Clank. They're both like reimaginings, and they're both franchises that I deeply care about. So taking both of these games slowly is actually to my benefit personally. So I would say that I definitely enjoyed God of War. I definitely think that the story is solid. I do think it's overrated, and just the game in general is overrated. I think it's a great game. I don't think it's like a groundbreaking, incredible, mind-boggling game.
Like Game of the Generation?
No, I don't agree with those
sentiments. Game of the Generation.
I do think that clearly that's Mad Max by Avalanche Studios.
Whoa.
No, I'm kidding.
Jesus Christ.
I do think that there's definitely some merit to God of War, and I'm definitely comfortable where I think Sony Santa Monica is at with their studio and that franchise. So I've talked a lot about that game. I won't go too much deeper into it other than it is a satisfying ending. It certainly is interesting as far as what could come next for this seemingly rebooted trilogy, I guess you could say. And I'm happy to see this Norse mythology working out so well, because I love Norse mythology, and I will say that it seems like Norse mythology has really become a thing, especially because of the Marvel movies bringing it into mainstream culture, and now games like this and Hellblade, and I just think that stuff is so cool, so I'm glad to see that for sure.
It's one of the games I'm most excited to play when I get my PS4.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, is when can we all three discuss it, do you think?
Oh, I will. There's so much I need to say.
I'll be finished with God of War before the end of the year, 100%. I don't know when exactly, but I'll be done with it before the end of the year. The crazy thing, too, is I haven't, knock on wood, had the first boss fight that everyone talks about being so amazing spoiled for me. I don't even know who you fight. I've been able to steer clear of spoilers.
Dude, stay away. Stay away.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Norse mythology is definitely on the extended list of the Jared starter pack. So it's all I want.
Man,
the Jared starter pack.
Let me say this much, Jared. There's parts that, I don't want to say this the right way. I mean, the game is what it is, but then there's areas that allow you to explore more stories and other things.
And I haven't done a ton of that. I'll say that much.
Yeah. So like you're saying that since I'm into Norse mythology, like there's nooks and crannies that'll let me like dig deeper into that. Awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll get the most out of it as far as that's concerned. Yeah.
Did you guys see the concept art of the Egypt stuff that came out this week?
No.
For
I
God
don't
of
know if it
War?
was Cory Barlog or somebody, but they released concept art of the game was originally. The original plan was for it to be Egyptian mythology, and there's concept art of Kratos with the kid, but obviously he's in Egyptian attire, and there's like I don't know if it was a Sphinx or what exactly it was. I don't even know what monster it was, but there was a monster on screen, and it definitely looked like God of War 2018, but instead of Norse mythology, Egyptian. So it looked really cool.
Yeah, it's not a spoiler to say that there's a board in the game that they look at that has emblems for other mythologies.
Cool.
So it has the eye for Egyptian mythology. It has a symbol for Celtic mythology. It obviously has the Omega symbol for the Greek mythology. And then
Mayan?
It also has... what is the last one, Dom? Have you seen this? I've seen.
I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know the symbols.
It's Egyptian, Greek, Celtic, and...
Because it's like the Celtic interwoven brand. I'm assuming that it's the Eye of Ra, the Omega symbol, obviously, and then
I cannot remember what the fourth one is. My goodness.
Interesting. We can talk about it later. No worries.
it just shows that they're looking at that other stuff. But I do think it's gonna be it'd probably be 10 years before we play God of War Egypt, because they're gonna do like 3 games in Norse mythology.
Yeah, like I really hope it's like Ragnarok and Valhalla. Obviously they don't need to do the story specifically, but like those themes would be really dope.
Yeah.
What else besides God of War? Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, you're good. So that's most of what I played. I had my birthday this past weekend and had my brothers and my mom over for
Whoop whoop.
Cake and dinner and all that, and we were playing some Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, as you do when you got people over. And I've been watching a bunch of movies. I am going to see the new one this weekend, but I went through the Mission Impossible series.
Hell yeah.
And really enjoyed that. For people that know what I'm talking about, I would say the order of my favorites goes 4, 1, 3, 5, 2 so far. And
Interesting.
Ghost Protocol is fucking awesome. That's the one from 2011 where they introduced Jeremy Renner after 3 with Philip Seymour Hoffman. And it's just fucking awesome, man. It's just a great movie, not just a great action movie or whatever. But I will say probably the biggest pull of this series is the such well-crafted action. So I got to give them props for that, and that's why I've enjoyed watching these mostly. I was watching them in 4K too, so that really helps. But yeah, cool stuff, and I'm excited to see Fallout, and I'm glad I kind of gave that franchise another chance, or kind of decided to get back into it. Doing the same with the Ocean series, and I watched 11 and 12, and obviously 11's great. 12 I did not really like that much. It's kind of wacky, the stuff that they decided to do with it. But
is 12 the new one with the girls?
No, that's 8. So there's 11, 12, 13,
okay, gotcha.
now 8.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I got 2 more left. And then also going through the older Batman movies. So I hadn't seen Batman 1989 and hadn't seen Batman Returns.
Oh, really?
I watched Returns, yeah. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, very different takes on these characters, very different. I would say the thing I like the most is Gotham City itself. Tim Burton's Gotham City is really, really fantastic. These movies have a huge influence on the animated series, which has a huge influence on Batman as we know it today. And that Gotham City that you see in those movies, I think, is where the Gotham that we know today comes from. So really cool stuff there. Solid movies, I would say. Keaton is a solid Batman. I do think people are kidding themselves. It's really just nostalgia when they say he's better than like Bale. Or even Affleck. I think Affleck's a great Batman and Bruce Wayne. So, well, in BVS, in Justice League, his characters are weird.
It's hokey in Justice League. He doesn't even want to be there, unfortunately.
It's weird. You know, who can say? But you can see in Batman versus Superman, like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a good fucking actor. He's a good fucking Batman and Bruce Wayne. So, anyways, yeah, watch a bunch of movies. Of course, I've been reading comics. I am staying up on Marvel Fresh Start, and then also just caught up on the 2 current events, which is if Infinity Wars, which leads in from Infinity Countdown, has a lot to do with Guardians of the Galaxy, and is pretty cool. I'm definitely glad I've caught up on these 2. The second one being Hunt for Wolverine, which obviously involves a lot of X-Men stuff. And they have 1 issue left to go of that, so I'm all caught up and waiting on that last issue. So it's cool because they're, resurrecting Wolverine, which, if you're going to be into comics, you just got to accept that, like, characters come back to life, and they make a lot of jokes in these series about, Logan being resurrected, but, it's just, unfortunately, there's shitty stuff in video games, there's shitty stuff in movies, and there's shitty stuff in comics, and that's one of them, is that it's just like, yeah, we'll kill off Captain America, but it won't be for too long. Don't worry about it, So,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? But I love comics, even though they've got some dumb shit about them. So,
Quick question: have you been reading both Avengers and Justice League?
So I'm a little bit further back on DC Rebirth. I'm kind of like halfway through catching up on what I want to be caught up on there. So I'm like.
Okay.
Midway through the original Justice League series from Rebirth, and they just restarted it. But as far as Avengers goes, yes, and I'm really enjoying that. Issue 6 was cool this week, but 1 through 5 I think are really great, and 6 finishes up that arc. So I think it's a cool first arc, and I've really enjoyed the art especially. So, what about him?
Yeah, I was wondering. I like him both. I would say I would consider myself more of a Marvel than DC guy. I like him both, obviously, a lot. But I'm actually enjoying Justice League a bit more. I really like what they're doing in that story. I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, so I'm not going to say really much anything. But it's in a very interesting place. So, like with Avengers, I think it's cool, but I'm not really like yearning for the next issue. Like when it comes, I'm like, cool, I'll read it. I'm having a great time. With Justice League, I'm like, when is this next issue coming out? Like I just want to see what happens, So they have me on the hook there.
I will
I'm really interested.
With the old Avengers, this stuff that they're doing with the Celestials, like the old school stuff, they're showing you like the very first Avengers from like a million years ago that were dealing with
the BC ones. Yeah,
and that shit is really fucking cool, and it looks like they're about to jump in with Ghost Rider on a mammoth next month, or they're not exactly, they're like every 3 weeks I think, because they're doing like 18 Avengers a year. But I'm really enjoying that, and the Celestial stuff in modern times is cool too. And also I think if you're reading Infinity Wars and you're reading Avengers, you're seeing Loki like legitimately be a good guy, because he's like, without anyone watching, without him trying to get credit, he's like behind the scenes trying to save the fucking universe in this weird way.
Yeah.
And so that's really cool. And then reading Infinity Wars, another cool thing that I wanted to mention is that like the Infinity Stones, if you're Thanos getting the Infinity Stones and filling up the gauntlet, you're only getting the stones for this reality. And there's a set of stones for every reality in the Marvel Universe. So, like, this Loki comes through our Loki's universe, and it's basically Thor as Loki being Thor, and he's got all these fucking Infinity Stones, and he's, from a totally separate universe. So his Infinity Stones don't work for
here.
Our Loki. Yeah, it's just crazy, and it is, like, kind of comic book bullshit, but it's also cool at the same time. Some of that stuff is like a duality of being goofy and kind of stupid, but also being really fucking
cool. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's comic books in a nutshell, though, man.
Is.
You'll have, like, Howard the Duck, but then you'll have some really awesome character arcs and stuff. Infinity Wars is really cool. My only issue when jumping into it was I wasn't familiar with the black guy who had one of the stones. I forgot his name.
Turk?
Yeah, just a character I've never been familiar with, so I didn't know who he was going in. I was like, who's this?
I've been realizing a couple things about comics recently. Someone said something online that I was reading or watching, and they were like, you're never going to know everything if you're trying to jump in. You're never going to know the whole story of the Marvel Universe, the DC Universe, and all the reboots and bullshit. And stuff like that. Like, you just don't really need to know who he is. He's a minor character, and it's like...
Yeah.
they'll kind of give you those info boxes of like give you a little star in the dialogue and say, see issue 6 of this series if you really want to know what's going on. But most of the time, the stuff that you're worried about the whole universe connecting on and you needing to know, you just don't, and they kind of just skim over a lot of that stuff, and the stuff that you need to know is in the book that you're reading. So I think that's an example of that.
Yeah, I didn't have any issue with it. I was just like, I hopped in, I was like, cool, that person has a stone, that person has a stone, that person has a stone. Who's this? Man, who cares? And
I think he's like one of Kingpin's old guys because he talks about getting beaten by Kingpin.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is like, he's like a
random dude.
Like a gray morality mob dude. Got it. Cool. Let's move forward. You know, nothing crazy.
Right, yeah.
Are we ready to hop into the news? News. Okay, so
I think Dom is.
Nerds over here talking about comic books. Yeah. As he has, oh no, he doesn't have it behind him anymore. Remember where he used to shoot at? He had the Batman poster behind him. I think it was Batman.
Yeah,
Begins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You loved superheroes, Dom.
The first news story: Supermassive announces horror anthology Dark Pictures. This comes by way of the place I saw it was Xbox's Gamescom live stream that they did. I forgot what it's Inside Xbox. And basically, Until Dawn developer Supermassive announced at Gamescom that their new horror anthology, The Dark Pictures, is going to be something they focus on now. They announced the first title for it, the first entry, Man of Medan, which releases in 2019 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So that's great. It's not exclusive anymore, so people on an Xbox can, check out Supermassive's games. This one takes place on like a sea vessel and has to do with. You guys have both seen it, right? The trailer.
I have not actually.
Okay, so it's basically and you can correct me, Dom, if I get anything wrong or I'm incorrectly explaining it. It's essentially this. Think Until Dawn. So it's a group of kids. They get on this old vessel and they're diving for relics. And it's basically the whole point of it is that these relics could possibly be haunted. And the story goes from there. I don't want to spoil anything really because I don't know how much you want to know about it, Jordan. But that's essentially like the pinpoint of the story, the horror story here, is that there are these kids that are deep diving in the water to find relics from sunken ships and stuff, and they come to the realization that some of these things may be haunted or possessed or stuff like that, and that's kind of where the story kicks off.
You left out that it's fucking awesome and let's go Supermassive. Bring it on, yes.
Yeah, it looks super interesting. They didn't really give any specificity in terms of game length, which I don't care about. If this is 3 hours, I'm fine. If this is 8 hours, I'm fine. If there's somewhere in between, I'm fine. I don't really care. I just want to play it. It looks really interesting.
I'll pipe in there really quick. I mean, it's implied that, right, this is an anthology.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of implied, like, each one might be a little smaller than one full game, which I think is a better thing, because to be honest, Until Dawn actually kind of dragged along at the end a little bit. It could have been a little shorter, I think.
Yeah, tightened up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So if these are just a bit shorter, and they can make more of them, in a smaller amount of time, then hell yeah. Let's go.
The fact that it's an anthology, you could have one that's 4 hours and one that's 3 hours or one that's 7 hours. Like, they're not tied to it. Depending on the story they want to tell, they can make it that length, right? So that's good, too. People have been wanting an Until Dawn, too, because everyone loved that game. This is cool. I think with horror, I think sequels tend to have a lot of trouble in them because you've already seen what that franchise has to offer, so it's hard to come back and scare people even more and, like, up the ante, right? So an anthology kind of works for them where they don't have to revisit that location or that type of monster or those characters. With horror, they can just go and pick a story they want to do. And I was telling you guys before we started recording that they said they have already 39 either like subgenres in horror or like ideas or plot lines or themes that they already have that they want to tackle. And after this one releases in 2019, they want to try to hit 2 a year, which is really cool. I'm really interested to see what the price point is for Man of Medan. I would assume it's probably going to be $40. Obviously, we're very early. We don't know yet.
$40?
I think so, yeah. I think with this anthology
one
series...
of these episodes?
Yeah. Well, it's not episodes, it's a game.
I'm thinking like 20-ish.
No. These are full-fledged games.
Depends how big it is.
Yeah, I don't think this is...
But that's one Telltale season is $20.
Yeah, but Until Dawn wasn't $20.
But you really think Man of Medan is going to be, like, almost as long as Until Dawn? Like 8 hours, 6 hours?
I think half of that, yeah.
It feels like it.
Half.
the trailer kind of feels like it's going to be about that size. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna bet it's between $20 and $30.
I say 40 at the very least.
The other thing is, at least with Until Dawn, and by the looks of this one from the trailer, it's way higher production, value than a Telltale game that gets cranked out.
Well,
in
for
the
sure.
same
I'm
engine.
just saying, like a Telltale season and a single anthology from Supermassive sounds like comparable. But
I forgot a huge detail. Man of Medan stars our boy from Quantum Break, Jordan. Forgot the actor's name.
Sean Ashmore?
Yeah, he's the lead in this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mr. Iceman.
So it seems like they're going to tackle that too, where Until Dawn had Hayden Panettiere and Rami Malek, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, they're clearly. Yeah. They're clearly into this.
Having at least one actor people know, yeah. So it's really interesting. Hopefully it pans out. I can't wait to play it. I think we all can't wait to play it.
I just want to mention Until Dawn 2 real quick. I think that's still got to be a thing. People have been wondering about that forever, and I hope we're not like in a Bloodborne 2 situation like this in a couple years. But I definitely think that's an early PS5 title.
Yeah,
it's got to be. I think that's within a year of launch for PS5.
Yeah, well, if they're hitting 2 titles a year, right, they have multiple different teams working on them. I could see, as they're handing off back and forth which one gets released, the one that got released, part of that team's working on Until Dawn 2 probably. Like, they're working back and forth on this anthology series, but they also have, like, a team working on Until Dawn 2. It's such a quantifiable property in terms of revenue that they'd be dumb to do that. It also depends. Until Dawn's an exclusive property, right? Sony published that. So I think
Sony owns that.
Yeah, so it's on Sony, I think, to figure out if they want to do a sequel, which they probably do, because like we said, this anthology series is going to be multi-platform. So we'll see what happens there.
Sony's had them back for 2 exclusive PSVR games that tie into Until Dawn, so they gotta want them to do a second game.
Sony might want that, but I don't know if Supermassive necessarily wants to work on exclusives anymore, or if they want to focus on the multi-platform stuff, Because
they did PlayLink stuff too, right? Which is exclusive.
And that's all contracts. So what I'm saying is, after they finish that contract stuff with Sony of exclusive titles, I don't know if they want to go back to that or if they don't. I'm not saying it's like a bad thing, like Sony treated them bad. I'm just saying I don't know from a developer standpoint if they just want to be like, let's just work on multi-plat stuff for a while and we'll worry about exclusive stuff later, And then it's on Sony to be like, well, we want Until Dawn 2 made. Do we wait for Supermassive? Until Dude 2. The Dudening. The second story. No new Assassin's Creed game in 2019. This is via GameSpot.com by Timur Hussein. In an interview at Gamescom 2018, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot stated that there will not be an Assassin's Creed game in 2019. He stated the only reason there are Assassin's Creed games releasing in back-to-back years is because Origins and Odyssey were being developed at the same time by different teams. He said to look for DLC next year for Odyssey, but there will not be a Assassin's Creed game. Because he said it kind of cheekily. He said there will not be a mainline, a proper Assassin's Creed game next year. And then the interviewer was like, so like a spin-off or a remaster, or what are you talking about? He's like, oh no, like we're not releasing any Assassin's Creed game. We're just putting out DLC for Odyssey.
Yeah, they always have Assassin's Creed games. Like they had the Rogue remaster, they had the Ezio remaster. Like they can't help themselves. Just quit acting like you're so fucking careful and just choosy with this series. Like, I guess we'll take a year off or so. Yeah, but you're going to release Rogue HD or whatever, Rogue on current consoles. So
I think the thing we get next year is Ezio Collection on Switch. I think that'll be their Assassin's Creed release next year.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Yeah. Because those games are old enough that I think that can be ported to Switch. You know what I mean? They're
Absolutely.
like OG Assassin's Creed games.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah, so this is interesting. We were talking before the show again, Jordan, that this is going to be... I don't know if I'm a fan of this cadence, but it'd be interesting to see, Odyssey and Origins were obviously developed on the same version of that engine, right, that they use for Assassin's Creed. Odyssey has slightly more improvements and different mechanics solely because it's been in the oven longer, even though they both started around the same time, according to Guillemot. Now that they take a year off in 2019, it's going to be interesting to see if 2020 we get a game, and then 2021 we get that game, but better mechanics or improvements or stuff like that. If it's going to be a 2 and then a skip, and then 2 and then a skip, if that's the cadence they go for, or if it is every other year, it's just, the skip a year came out of nowhere where they did have 2 teams in development because they're used to releasing one every year. So it's going to be weird and interesting. And these years could definitely benefit them.
Take a couple years off.
Yeah, and these years can benefit them with the new generation on the horizon, right? If they have that year to skip and kind of toy away with the new generation of consoles and figure that out, it could benefit them. And if they have 2 teams working at the same time, they could do a thing where they have a quote-unquote, like, last-gen Assassin's Creed and the next-gen one, right? Because they had that with, was it Rogue? Am I right about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it was originally, they released it at the same time as Unity, but it was last gen and Unity was this gen.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, interesting there to not have an Assassin's Creed next year. I wish it was this year, considering we have like Red Dead and a bunch of stuff. And so far, everything at the beginning of next year is crazy. We don't have much at the second half of next year to be like, I mean, maybe, man, I am brain farting. Ellie and Joel, Last of Us Part 2. I cannot think of that game. I could not think of that game.
I was about to say it, but I was like, he knows what The Last of Us is.
Yeah, man. I kept wanting to say Leftovers for some reason. I was like, no, you're an idiot.
The Leftovers.
Yeah. The next news story here, we finally have the July 2018 MPDs. We're going to go from 5 to 1. Have either of you seen this already?
No.
Nay.
I want both of you to guess what the best-selling game was for the month of July.
Oh man, what came out in fucking June, July?
Crash released, Octopath released, Crash for Xbox obviously, Octopath released. I'm trying to think of what else.
I don't even know, man.
Madden?
Yeah.
Does Madden release in July?
No, Madden released in August 14th or 10th. Any guesses? Or you guys just don't want to guess? It's fine.
GTA 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna say
number 1.
Octopath.
Okay. And what do you expect the 5th best-selling game is?
Crash.
Octopath.
You can guess both. I'll give it to you. Whatever.
I mean, it could be. I know it's in the top 5, and it could be 5 or 1. I don't know.
So, number 5 was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Remember, for all Nintendo titles, they don't count digital sales. So, they could easily be way higher. So, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was number 5. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy was number 4. Still kicking. It's been, like, the top-selling game in the UK for, like, 6 months or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, they love their Crash over there, bud.
Yeah.
They're all about their PlayStations.
Number 3, Mario Kart 8. Once again, not including digital sales. You were close, Dom. Number 2, Grand Theft Auto 5. I guess people are just...
Always a safe guess, man.
Exactly. That game just keeps on selling. And number 1, Octopath Traveller, which was awesome to see.
Yeah.
I still need to get back to it. I think I'm like 4 or 5 hours in. I need to hop back into it.
Dude. I was about to roll up on Octopath, and I saw it was $60, and I was like, not right now, dude.
Yeah.
I will wait for a sale.
Yeah.
That's such a $30 or $40 game to me. And the same with these fucking Tokyo RPG Factory games. Like, you guys are making these, throwback games. They don't need to be full or almost full price. Like, get out of here with that shit.
Well, and the funny thing...
$40.
And the funny thing is that people made the argument that the amount of work that goes into it for like a game as stylized as Octopath Traveller, that's why it costs $60 because like the animation, the art style, and all that stuff. And like I understand that argument, cool, but like Cuphead was made, and that game sold for $20, and that game's also labor intensive in terms of art design, So I don't know if that's a legitimate excuse. I got it because I was already hyped for that game. Would I want to purchase it for $60? No. I completely agree with you that I see it as like a $30 or $40 title. I just gave in to, consumerism and capitalism.
I instead went with Dead Cells Switch, Okami Switch, and then since I had the season 1 through 3 save on PS4, I went with Walking Dead Telltale on PS4.
Yeah, smart choice.
Yeah.
See, Octopath, it's cool to see that game sell as much as it did. We're going to get a sequel. Let's see what the weird title is for that. Is it like, what would it be, the the 9 version. Octo. I don't know what. I don't know what it is. Or it's Octopath Traveller 2 or Quadropath. It's like it cuts it in half. Some other news from the July MPD outside of those sales. Something I didn't list. Far Cry 5 is still the best-selling game of the year. Number 2 is still God of War.
Dude, Ubisoft is crazy like that. They had whenever Ghost Recon was that 2016 or was
Wildlands?
That last year?
No, Division. So it was Division 2016, Wildlands 2017, and then now Far Cry 5.
Oh, but
shooters.
For Honor for a while, right? It was like
they have the best-selling games for a long time throughout every year, whether it be Far Cry 5 or Ghost Recon, and then Siege with its comeback. Obviously, Division's very popular. So
it's because they all hit early in the year, right, when there's not much else that's multi-platform. So.
Well, and they're all shooters, which caters to a massive audience. Yeah. The other things I wanted to get to, the interesting information, was that Nintendo was July's best-selling hardware platform in both dollar sales and units. This is really interesting because usually, for the past couple of months, Nintendo's dominated in units sold, but Sony's been the one that's taken the dollar amount, right? Because obviously a PlayStation costs more than a Switch, for the most part, here or there. But they actually won in both dollars and units sold. And then they went on to say Microsoft and Sony are both doing fine. Xbox One hardware sales are trending up. In terms of dollar sales, the Xbox One platform grew by 50% year over year. In July, year to date, it's more than 60%. So what that shows with them not talking about Sony's numbers is Sony did sell well, but they're not up year over year, which makes sense considering it's a console that sold over 80 million units. You know what I mean? You're going to have years where it didn't sell as well as the year before just because people have already bought it. You know what I mean? It's kind of how that works. That's pretty much it for July MPD. The only other interesting information is that Grand Theft Auto 5 is in the top 5 for games sold this year and for the last 12 months. So, just keeps on ticking. Ugh, it's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, it's insane. I want to see a month, because it's going to happen eventually, maybe like next February or so, where GTA 5 sells more than Red Dead, on the MPD.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. People don't realize there's going to be a month sometime, probably around launch time of the next consoles, where the top 10 MPD contains both Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 6. And maybe even Red Dead at the same time.
Red Dead 2? Yeah. God. Ugh. It's going to be crazy.
So hold your butts, kids.
Hold your buns.
Hold on to your butts.
Some quickie news real quick. We got some release dates. They announced a Dark Souls trilogy that's coming out the same day as the Switch version comes out, which is October 19th. It's going to be on PS4 and Xbox One. It's going to cost $80. And the the physical edition is going to be limited. It's a really beautiful still case with a bonfire on it. So if you're into those physical versions, definitely get on those pre-orders because they're in limited quantity and they're going to go fast. Dom's pre-ordering like 6 of them, so you got to beat him to it.
Sun.
Yeah. DMC 5 got a release date of March 8th. And Sekiro Shadows Die Twice also got a release date in March of 2019.
Oh, man, that shit looks good too.
Which is March 22nd.
I hope it is. I hope so.
And then this one kind of got swept under the rug because it's not one of these like big AAA titles, but Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden, which is the tactics game that involves like a girl who can turn into stone, Howard the Duck, and like a talking pig.
Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden, Path of Exile, Redemption,
Cave of Vengeance. Yeah, it's too long of a name.
Cave of Vengeance.
It's releasing December 4th, which is the same release date as Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm interested in this game. This is definitely a sale game for me, but I am interested in it. I love anthropomorphic animals, and I love the humor in this game. Like during one of the teaser trailers, the anthropomorphic pig finds like a can of Spam, and he just looks over to the human girl and just like shakes his head. He's just like, I can't believe you guys were eating us. So.
Sure, it's all about that red wall.
Exactly. Anthropomorphic animals, number 1. It's also on the list right next to Norse mythology on the shared starter pack.
Okay, you know what I'm thinking then. It's animals back in the days of Norse mythology. being anthropomorphized.
Give me a statue, $200 collector's edition. I'm in, 100%. With those release dates, real quick.
So wait, real quick, Jared, have you been reading Thor from Marvel?
No, it's something. It's one of the fresh starts that I haven't even read issue 1 for, but I have it downloaded. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
So it's fucking gorgeous. The art looks like it's made out of lava.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Ooh.
It's gorgeous. But there's a Thor has a talking dog called Thori, and it's back there in them Norse mythological days. So it's right up your alley. You got what you want.
Captain Marvel has a pet cat, alien cat named Chewie, and they're actually changing the name of it in the comics to Goose. Is that the nickname from Top Gun? Is it Goose?
Yeah.
So people think they're doing that because, like, obviously she's a pilot, which would be a really cool thing to see in the Captain Marvel movie too, of her having that pet cat and it's named Goose. But with these,
you don't think it's because Chewie sounds like a ethnic type deal?
Well, Chewie is named after Chewbacca. That's why they originally did it.
I thought it was like a Mexican thing. They're like, yeah, we can't have that anymore. We got to get this a new name. This fucking cat.
Yeah, they wanted to name it her. The cat was named Chewie after Chewbacca, but I think they're changing it because Spider-Man already kind of does the Star Wars references, and on top of that, they probably want that character to be, known as a pilot first. So, like, naming it Goose is like, the movie takes place in the 90s, which is 10 years after Top Gun. You know what I mean? It kind of makes sense.
It's weird how they make them. They can kind of conform a lot of the comics to fit with the MCU just because of how popular it is.
Yeah,
it's weird.
But it could be selling more comics, which is great because that means they'll continue.
Oh, for sure.
Have you heard going on a tangent real quick? Have you guys heard? Maybe not Dom, Jordan. Have you heard the theory that Uncle Ben was like a movie aficionado, and that's why Peter Parker and the MCU is like super into old movies because Uncle Ben used to like watch movies with him, and that was their thing.
And now he lives through the cinema, and he's coming back to life in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get to the last story, the thing I wanted to mention is with these new release dates, I'm going to read to you guys the beginning of next year, okay? It's pretty ridiculous. January 25th, Resident Evil 2 Remake. January 29th.
Man, that shit looks good, too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
January 29th, Kingdom Hearts 3. February 12th, Trials Rising. Finally got a release date. That's a huge one for me. I love the Trials games.
Oh, yeah.
Especially it's on Switch,
Jared.
too. It's going to be huge. I think people
are
really
baby.
February 22nd, Days Gone. February 22nd, Anthem.
Ooh.
February 22nd, Metro Exodus.
Yeah.
February 2019, Crackdown 3. March 8th, Devil May Cry 5. March 15th, The Division 2. March 21st, The Sinking City, which is that H.P. Lovecraftian... No. You're thinking of SOS. This is the...
Yeah.
This is like the... Kind of like Vampire, but more H.P. Lovecraftian.
Oh, yeah. It's by the Sherlock
exactly.
Holmes guys.
Yeah. So it's not a huge title, but still it's a title people are interested in. And then March 22nd, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
And a bunch of those are going to move. Maybe
I think
somebody will be smart and go to July where it's dead always.
Sekiro could.
I think Sekiro stays. For me, I think the most likely ones... I think the ones in February are the ones that can move. I think Crackdown 3 is staying there. I think Microsoft, there's been news reports that they don't want it to move at all. I think Crackdown is staying February no matter what.
Days Gone
could get delayed. Anthem can get delayed. Metro Exodus can make a smart move. I think those three are the ones that can move out of the way.
They've got a decision to make with Days Gone. I know they've delayed it, but my God, it's going to get slaughtered.
Yeah,
I forgot all about it, man. What's going on?
It's just no one talks about it. Just it's there, it's coming out.
It's going to come out.
I got to get it out far enough before Last of Us 2.
If it's going to come out, and instead of finally Sony released an okay first party game or mediocre first party game, but it won't even be that. I feel like it's just going to come out and no one's going to say much of anything.
I think it's going to be Sunset Overdrive, which Sunset Overdrive is a good game, but people forgot about it. It's
not going to be as good as
No, I'm not saying quality wise. I'm saying people forgetting about it, Jordan. I'm not saying
not soil the good name of Sunset Overdrive, which is a perfect precursor to Spider-Man.
Nice Jack and Dexter reference.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I know it's a month afterwards, but like, I think even Resident Evil 2 remake is competition for Days Gone. Of like, people are into zombies. I know that same type of game, but like that game looks great. Word of mouth on Resident Evil 2 remake is going to be huge for a lot of the games media. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I really think that no matter if Days Gone is good or bad, if it doesn't move, it's going to get buried. Even if it does move, it might get buried. I think PSX and the Game Awards are going to be a huge indication of where this game sits. I think PSX is going to be the point where we hear if it's delayed or not. If they come out with another trailer at Game Awards, I think it definitely hits February 22nd. If they talk about it at PSX but don't really mention much, and then we don't see it at Game Awards, I think it could get delayed. Even in January, they can make an announcement. Because I don't, like you said, Dom, I don't think this is a game that Sony's like fully behind necessarily, so I think they're fine with like pushing it, even if it's a month out, you know? We'll see. I don't know. Beginning of the year is crazy. I'm just glad Sekiro finally has a release date.
They're heavy on Spider-Man right now. They were heavy on God of War. I think probably after Spider-Man comes out, they'll start pushing.
Days Gone will not have the marketing that God of War or Spider-Man has. Not even
close.
No.
Yeah. Not as much, but it won't be behind, right now it's like kind of shadowed behind Spider-Man marketing, right? So
yeah. I mean, I think also it depends on how, I mean, this is a dumb correlation, but depending on how well the Walking Dead season hits too, that could be motivation for people to go out and get it. Because doesn't the mid-season premiere happen around February? Because it starts in October and then it ends and then it comes back in February, so that could be huge for it too. I know they're not the same, but like that zombie fever could strike while the iron's hot. The last news story before we close out here, guys, this one's really weird. So the Verge, Tom Warren over at the Verge reported that Microsoft is planning on offering their hardware paired with both Gold and Game Pass for a monthly subscription fee for 2 years. The service is codenamed Project Largo and would roll out to Microsoft stores at launch in the US. It would offer the Xbox One X or the S, but I'm going over the plan for the Xbox One X specifically, with Live Gold and at Game Pass for $34.99 a month for 24 months. I did the math on this. MSRP of you buying it straight out versus this proposed subscription total price. The MSRP for all of this is around $740. Obviously, it could be cheaper or more expensive depending, right? But it's around $740. Through the subscription, it's around $840. So the interest on it is around $100, which if anybody out there listening is familiar with like Rent-A-Center or any of these places, that's actually a really good deal for it only being $100 more at the end of it. Usually I've seen people who have done this with Rent-A-Center and stuff for consoles, and for like the Xbox 360, you could have got one near its end of its lifespan for around $200 to $250, and at Rent-A-Center at the end of it, it's like $700 to $800. You know what I mean? Because they just nickel and dime you and fork you with the interest rates, and it's crazy. Another thing before we get into it is that they offer this kind of plan with the 360 6 years ago.
Why would you not wait until you have $200 or $250? Like, what are you doing?
That's a lot different than $500, right? For Xbox One X.
I will say about this: if you're unable to pay outright for a console, you're gonna have a tough time, because unless you're just planning on getting a couple games and not really having very many accessories, or having an online subscription. Gaming is an ongoing expense, as unfortunate as it may be, and that's not necessarily unfortunate because you're getting to play new stuff and do cool things on your console. But
yeah,
I'm with you. You need to be prepared to be able to spend at least a portion of your money, every now and then. But playing your game, for it not to be a waste of money in the first place.
But yeah, I don't think this is for the hardcore though. The hardcore are going to buy the console outright. I don't.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general. I don't think. If you're gonna buy a console, I just think, if you're not gonna be hardcore, that's fine, but I still don't think it's worth it. Especially if you're not gonna be that into it, then either why are you getting it in the first place, or why can't you just wait until you have the money for it and for a couple.
I mean, this isn't like whatever. Yeah. This isn't like the personal finance podcast or anything, but generally the smaller the principal for something, you should avoid having to finance it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Generally, but even if it's not, there is some interest on this if you look at it like that. But
unless you're only going to buy, unless you're only going to buy like the one or so games up front, then it is an ongoing expense.
Yeah, but this is coming with Game Pass attached to it. So that's the thing. Is like they're paying $34.99 a month with Game Pass, and Game Pass has a ton of games on it, and Fortnite's free. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're not.
Yeah, I mean, if this is your deal, then more power to you.
Options. That's all. Consumers. I'm all for options. If you're the type of person that wants to buy the console outright, if you're the type of person, but the thing is too, we're not talking about the rate. There is going to be a plan for the Xbox One S. This plan specifically, the $34.99 is for the X. You know, I just think I'm cool with options. I think if you give your consumers more options to be able to purchase your product, that's good for Microsoft because. We can sit here and logically say why buying it outright is better, to some people paying $34.99 a month is just more viable to them, and they think it makes more sense than paying $500 for a console. No matter if they continue to buy games afterwards, it's just a weird thing with the way people's brains work. You know what I mean? For some people, it just makes more sense for them to do this. And this isn't coming out of left field. Microsoft did the same thing about 6 years ago with the 360. There was the way that one worked is you would pay $100 up front, and then for $15 a month over 2 years as well, and you would get a 360 with a 2-year warranty and Xbox Live Gold. So they're doing something similar. It's not like out of the blue. This isn't something new for Microsoft.
Yeah, and like I think MSI or Asus or one of those companies, I can't remember, did this with like graphics cards, which was even more bizarre and more fiscally irresponsible. Like you could basically, and those might have even been leases. I can't remember, where you never even technically owned it.
Yeah.
Unless you paid something extra at the end or something, but it was where you paid monthly for a graphics card that was like $600 or something. Because and it made more sense there too, because graphics cards are more out of reach than consoles, especially the expensive ones. But so this isn't a new thing by any means.
Not even the expensive ones. Like once the Bitcoin and currency came up, and there was a flood of the used market for graphics cards, like even like baseline graphics cards were hiking up in price like $600 to $700.
Yeah,
which is crazy because like the PC I use now, it's a very, very good editing PC and gaming PC. That graphics card would cost almost as much as my PC build did now. You know what I mean? The way the prices spike. So yeah, I'm just all for choices. This isn't like the only way you can buy an Xbox moving forward. I think that'd be an entirely different conversation. But the fact that this is an option, I think, is fine. I think the more revenue streams you can pull and the more options you give people, the better. The more interesting part of this story is there was a thing attached that we were expected to see a $150 accessory at the Inside Xbox for Gamescom. Everyone's like, oh, it's the Elite controller, it's a second Elite controller, it's Elite 2, it's Elite 2. Apparently that accessory was pulled towards the last minute because they just didn't want to showcase it anymore, I guess. Turns out that the accessory is coming out in October, a couple of weeks after Forza Horizon 4, and it's not the Elite controller 2. So, my assumption, this wasn't anywhere in the article, my assumption is that's a racing wheel, maybe? Yeah, makes more sense, right? If it's coming out that close to Forza, it's not the Elite 2. What other $150 accessory could it be? Some people are...
Let me hit you with this.
Okay.
Let me hit you with this. What if it's Scarlet? What if it's the streaming box?
No, I don't think so. Why would that launch in October? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Why not?
Because it's a spooky streaming console.
I don't think that's necessarily outside the realm of possibility. But if I had
pretty far.
If I had
outside the realm.
Exactly, it's right on the rim, the outer rim. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I want to see when this thing actually gets announced, what it is, and how it works. Not the accessory, the
VR headset,
the subscription service. $150 for a VR headset. I don't.
Yeah, why not?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's that important. I think it's just a racing wheel. I think it's just a racing wheel.
Well, just give them away. Why not?
Yeah.
You guys want some VR?
That's it for this week's show. Let's talk about what we're going to be playing. For me, it's Graveyard Keeper. Going back into Octopath Traveller. I'll have time now. My free time to game. Getting back to Arkham City as well. I'm going to try to finish that up and Arkham Knight before. I have plenty of time now. Finish it up before Spider-Man comes out. Those are my two priorities, Arkham Knight and Arkham City. Thinking about what else. Does anything like... I want to watch Disenchantment, which is a new series on Netflix from the guy who made Futurama and Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, there's a lot of cool Futurama Easter eggs in it, so I'm super excited for that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Ozark Season 2 comes out, but I haven't even watched the first season, so it really doesn't do much for me.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
What about you guys? What are you guys going to be playing?
The only game that matters these days, Jared.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Praise the damn sun.
Yeah, I assumed that was going to be your answer.
Matters.
If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
Is there, how many achievements are in the DLC? Have you already gotten those? Or trophies?
And there are none.
Oh, cool. Makes it way easier for me.
I mean, yeah, I don't... You know what? That's a weird thing because, I've gone through the trophy list. Nothing from the DLC. But I feel like when I played the DLC back on Xbox 360, there were.
I'll do some research, Dom. What I'll do is I'll get on my version and I'll check the achievements and see if there's achievements for it. And we'll see what's happening there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious now because I thought there was.
Yeah. It's weird to release a DLC without achievements or trophies. Very weird.
That raises a bigger question. Actually, I already know the answer. So, for example, in Skyrim, the remaster on PS4, you know, to get the platinum, you don't have to get the DLC trophies, right? It's how it was originally set up. So, just if that were the case, doesn't appear to be the case in Dark Souls, at least on PS4, where there's DLC trophies. But I would assume, I don't know if that's a precedent for all games though.
On Xbox, it's not like that. Yeah, it's very weird.
Huh.
Yeah, on Xbox, it's all the achievements, even the DLC achievements.
Oh, I meant like, well, in the Skyrim case, like, it's different because on PlayStation there's a separate platinum trophy. So like,
I got you.
You see where I'm going?
I got you. Yeah. Very weird.
I don't know.
Whereas with the Xbox, it's just more gamer score. I understand.
Right.
Yeah. Jordan, what are you going to be playing?
So I gotta say, as we're in the zone, man. I'm feeling the burn for Spider-Man more and more each day, and
you should get that checked out.
Now,
Just kidding.
now that I've finished Sony's last exclusive, or big one at least, in God of War, I'm really getting excited for Spider-Man. So I'll say that. But I'm sure I'll play more Dead Cells. I was also jumping. It was making me feel like jumping into Hollow Knight, so I did that. I'll probably do that some more. I need to get to episode 1 of Walking Dead season 4, Telltale.
Same. I have it bought and downloaded. Haven't gotten to it yet. Good call. I'm going to be playing that this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, who knows? I might pop into something else. I've been trying to play the second Tomb Raider, but I'm starting to wonder if I'm even necessarily interested in these games after the original reboot. So who knows if I'll
just play
end up
Uncharted
getting into
instead.
that. But there's plenty of stuff to be playing. So
Yeah. Did you say play Uncharted instead?
Yeah.
They're different games.
yeah, they are very different. I would honestly, having gotten through the great Uncharted stories, it's like if I'm playing something, I'd much rather play Tomb Raider. So.
Yeah. I really love the shooting and stuff in Tomb Raider. Obviously, the story's like, whatever, but...
If we could just... I swear to God, if they could just combine the gameplay of Tomb Raider with the storytelling of Uncharted. My goodness.
That's it for this week. Next week will be episode 109. We should be back with everybody preparing for the horizon of Spider-Man. Will that be the first game in a while that we all have it release? I'm trying to think of the last game we all had it release. Super Mario Odyssey?
Yeah.
Did we all have Super Mario Odyssey at launch?
Yeah, I had it day one, man.
Yeah, what's the other... I got a Switch for it, remember? What's the other big release? I'm trying to think. Both of you had God of War. I didn't, obviously. Can't roll every PlayStation exclusive. Any other big AAAs that came out? I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. No, not really, right?
It's a rare occurrence.
Yeah, rare occurrence.
Shit, this is cool.
Yeah, well, now that I'll own a PS4, it could happen a lot more often. Yeah, so...
Obviously, we're all day one for Days Gone.
Obviously. You were saying Man of Medan should be $20. Days Gone. I'm just kidding.
We'll see, bud. We'll see about this old Supermassive game.
Did you chime in on that, Dom? What do you think? What price point is Man of Medan going to be?
The single...
40? You're with me?
Or...
Cool.
I think there might be Actually, no. There won't be any kind of bundle. Not until they're all out.
We don't even know what the second. What do you think? You're gonna buy a year subscription and just hope when those games come out?
What are they just
Maybe.
going to release
Maybe
all
true.
39 throughout the years, or what? What are we
Sounds
doing
like they're
here,
going to be too
Supermassive?
spaced apart.
Like a lifetime membership to the dark. What is
Yeah,
it?
what
I was
are
gonna
we
say
doing
dark
here?
arts. No, it's not the
The
dark arts.
Dark Arts.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. If you can, please follow us on iTunes. Leave a review. Definitely helps us out. If you can, also go to our YouTube. Even if you don't watch the video version, you listen to the audio version, please hit the subscribe button. It helps us out. Go to the latest video we uploaded and click that like button too. And smash that notification. I'm just kidding.
Fuck off.
If you want to as well, we're on Twitter. I am at Jared _. Dom is at Dom. Dom, is it Dom Loves Oreos? Dom's Oreos. No.
Dom's Oreos, man.
Dom's Oreos. It's the first time I've forgotten it.
What is
Man,
wrong with you?
I gotta tell the listeners.
Hold on, real quick.
Fried Oreos.
Jordan is at Malamotus as well. Go ahead.
I'm just blowing the whole show up right now with my nonsense. Fried Oreos are the best thing that's ever been available to eat.
You're too old of a man to experience this now.
This is exactly. Oh man, this is the same conversation me and Emily had where I was like, I gotta call my parents and tell them off because why is it taking me this long to have tried this? Why didn't they give this?
Hey
to me?
Mom, go fuck yourself! I've been trying to have fried Oreos and you just abandoned me.
I wonder.
I was like, where have I been? Like, this is amazing.
I wonder if the percentage is of people who, for the first time ever trying a fried insert snack food or sugary like candy,
Jalapenos
was at a state fair. I'm pretty sure it's like 98%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where else do you get it?
I guess like a
Maybe yourself.
like a cart or like a street truck.
They have
or
like
something.
appetizers at Chili's or whatever, you know.
Chili's. Ooh, baby back
Fried
ribs.
jalapenos.
Okay. Anyway,
End the show, man. End the show.
Anyways, you can also follow the Controlled Interest account at CTRLINT. It's Controlled Interest abbreviated. Tweet out all of the latest podcasts. We'll catch you guys next week and see you guys later. Also, buy Vita since it died.